Hi garden friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Era and this is Gardening on Purpose. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A, where I do gardening related videos. For today, I'll be giving you a tour of my July 2024 garden. First up is the Hosta garden. You might have remembered that I worked on this earlier in the year, and I'm really happy about how things turned out. A lot of the hostas doubled in size. Some of them were just roots. Some of them were little baby plants. Some of them I divided, and they're looking great. I have all types of hostas in here, and hopefully next year, when they double the size and they come back, it would be even better. Most of them have already flowered. Some are still in flower, like this particular one here. This is Royal Standard. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with how the Hosta garden turned out. Over here is my hydrangea area. This I have all types of microphylla hydrangea. I have Penny Mac, I have Summer Crush, the original by Endless Summer, I have Bloomstruck, I have Merit Supreme, and they're all doing great. Now look at Merit Supreme, guys. This was a clearance plant and it is showing off. Really, really happy about that. But all these plants here are hydrangeas and they're looking good. Here's a Bloomstruck that's looking good. Here's another Merit Supreme that I've had for over 3 years. Didn't do anything last year, but it came back and it's looking great. It already gave me a bloom. And then I have 2 other Bloomstrucks that I need to find somewhere to put, but that's the hydrangea area. In this part sun to part shade area, that pretty much gets morning sun, I've got ferns that go to sleep. I have Lenten Rose, also known as hellebore. I've got heucheras. I've got azaleas that bloom once. Those are the ones that bloom in the spring. Lungwort that has been really doing well in the yard. I'm really happy about that. Even more hellebore that I bought at my annual county sale. And I've got some daylilies that I just shoved here because I just ran out of space. I've got some, these guys here. These lyrope are blooming, and as are all the lyropes in the yard. So I'm really, really happy about that. I like lyrope because they stay evergreen. They actually bloom. See those purple things right there? I think this is, I know this is muscari. And then another part of the yard, which is part sun, again, looking good. I've got iris in here. I've got verbena. I've got all kinds of perennials in here, and the yard is looking great. The rest of the yard, the rest of the backyard is looking great as well. My coneflowers are beginning to wind down, and certain plants that are good for the second half of the season are coming to life, such as this guy here, which is a beautyberry. And then the rest of in here still looking good. You know, we've gotten to a point where we weren't getting any rain, and then all of a sudden we're getting rain every day. So it's looking great. A lot of things already bloomed, which is why I don't see a lot of flowers. But you might notice the butterfly weed right here. That's coming back. What do you call it? Phlox, they're coming back. Those white things here are phlox. And everything else pretty much has bloomed. So this is one of the beds in the front. This is one of the main beds in the middle of the yard. And behind that is another bed. And a lot of things, again, have already bloomed. But of course, we have roses that are still blooming. My favorite perennial, which is Autumn Joy Sedum, is getting geared up. Of course, Black-Eyed Susan is a really reliable plant that does really, really well in the yard. And it will take me all the way to the frost. And then behind that is a abelia. This Canyon Creek abelia right there that's looking great. Got a big ant's nest right here that I got to take care of. I've cut back some perennials. So I've cut back my daisies, I've cut back my coreopsis, I've cut back my salvias, I've cut back my gora. So I'm waiting for that second flush. Same thing with this particular rose here. As you can see, there's new growth. And then back here in the second part here, the butterfly bush, the Pugster periwinkle, that's looking great, and the butterfly loves it. Look at that, guys. Look at that beautiful butterfly. So that's the Pugster periwinkle I bought on sale, on clearance at Walmart, not Walmart, Home Depot for literally $7. Some of my perennials didn't do well here. I think I had a bunch of lamb's ear right here, and then they just literally died. I have no reason, I don't know why, but I ended up putting 3 lavenders there to fill that in. And then, you know, other things are still doing good. Here's a dahlia, and then more phlox, more sedums, and then of course my mums. I've cut back most of my roses, so they're not blooming right now, but they are budded up and they're looking great. One thing I learned is that, you know, I'm not really big on pruning, but now I know better. After 3-4 years, you need to prune the roses back so that they can get a chance to rebloom. And it is so true, because all these roses that I had them growing so high last 2 years, and they were looking lanky. They were blooming, but they were still looking lanky. But I realized you got to cut them back to give them a chance to rejuvenate, and they sure are doing that. So I have a lot of roses, as you know. If you go back in my videos, you'll notice that back in February, I bought a bunch of roses from Walmart, and they are all doing great. I made a big change in this, really big change in this bed. I actually had a hibiscus in the middle of that, summerific hibiscus that once I bought it like 3 years ago, it did well that first year, but every time it came back, the Japanese beetles just continually destroyed it, and they literally didn't come back this year. Only one did, and that just got completely maimed. So I took it out, and I put a nightlight Chamaecyparis there to help with the evergreen yard when things go to sleep. And surrounded by that is a bunch of Dutch irises and daylilies that are pretty much almost done. Otherwise, guys, I'm really happy with what the backyard is looking like. Let's see what the side yard looks like. I am really proud of the side yard. Took me a while to get it to where I want it to be, because there's a lot of things going on with the side yard. One, when we get a lot of rain, the water does flow a little weird, and it does kind of keep the plants a little bit wetter than I need them to, but I found a good sweet spot for them. And there I put a bunch of new perennials here and evergreens. So here I have a bunch of boxwoods and arborvitae, and then on top of that I have some coneflowers and some nepeta. And then you recognize these little beds here. These are all, in the middle of all of these are the Korean boxwood. Surrounding the Korean boxwood, we have either an encore azalea or 3 encore azaleas and a bunch of coneflowers. Here we have some encore azaleas as well that should be blooming in fall. They already did their summer bloom, and they already did their spring bloom. And then of course you recognize this huge shade bed in towards the front. So this is the front of the house, towards the front side. This is not the front where the front door is, but it is kind of towards the front on the west side of the house. And this is one of my pride and joys, because I've been working on this for 3 years, and this is pretty much my official front shade garden. All types of stuff in here, from heucheras to ferns to hostas to every type of shade plant you can think of, it's in here. I've got a stilby in here, I've got lungwort, and one more plant that I'm trying to remember. Oh, here it is, lyrope. So I'm really happy about that. I can't wait. Well, I can wait, but I love fall. So when the leaves do fall, then I will have this really nice blanket, and I will save on mulch. But guys, what do you think of this shade garden? I know I've shown it a lot lately, but that's because I'm so happy. I've got some ground cover here with a juga, one of my favorite ground covers, and boy, has it been blanketed in the ground. I can't wait. I have 2 types of jugas. So you have that greeny one here, and then you have that purple one. Now, when I bought them, it just said boogleweed, so I don't know the exact type it is, but it's been really doing well, and I can't wait for it to get to the point where it takes over the entire area that I want it to. But yeah, that is the shade garden. I'm at the front of the yard now, and this is when you're driving up to the garage. This is one that's next to the driveway, and here I have a bunch of hostas, heucheras, ferns, and I have the carex grass, and those are doing quite well. I'm really, really happy about this. The only thing is that the hostas will go to sleep, and of course I had bought some pop star hydrangeas that were on sale at Lowe's, guys. You remember that video where I did it and I showed you all those hydrangeas that I bought? I ended up putting 2 here because I had no other place to put them, but they'll go to sleep, as will the hostas, so then it still will be something to look at come winter time. Here's a tree in front of the house, and this one will stay to be an evergreen planter or bed. Here we have a bunch of autumn ferns, a bunch of heucheras, and then I had inserted some New Guinean patience. Once they die back, I'm not putting anything there. This one is going to stay like this until further notice. This is my foundation planting. I need to prune back these Florida Sunshine Elysiums. These are shade plant, and they're doing really, really great. It's just that they're looking kind of lanky and out of the way, because that's the growth habit for it. It's not a very fancy growth habit for the Florida Sunshine Elysium. It does find itself shooting up like random things, and I've just been not finding the time to cut them back so it can look a little bit better, but that's what that is. And again, more ajuga. I wanted my foundation, especially on this side, to have a live mulch, and guys, look how this thing is looking. So nice. I put a couple of ajugas here, and they are doing great. I can't wait for them to fill up that area too, and right there. But for now, look how thick this is. I'm still working on the official foundation garden. This one here is a part shade to shade, so it's been really hard to find shrubs that I can put here. But so far what I have here is Lyrope, heuchera, more sunshine, Florida Sunshine Elysium here, and I have some claras that are not supposed to really be there because claras need a little bit more sun, but they seem to be okay. Guys, sometimes I truly forget about the mailbox garden. Here's my mailbox garden where I have, 5 different types of roses. I have my favorite perennial, which is autumn joy sedum, and I have some zinnias that I'm going to replace with something more perennial for the next season. I also have some right here. I've got some salvia here as well. So the mailbox garden is looking great. I trimmed the roses back so they are already beginning to regenerate new growth, which means that I should be able to get at least one more round of blooms from these roses before the season ends, guys. I know I don't show the mailbox garden too often. That's simply because half the time I actually forget about it because it's all the way out. It's a long walk to the mailbox, and I see the backyard in the front more often, and the only time I think about the mailbox is when I'm leaving or come back and it's like, oh my God, the mailbox garden. But it's looking great. Let me know what you think, guys, and let me know how your garden is doing here in the end of July. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on my new videos. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.